Today we're looking at the Ergosift M2, which is a budget ergonomic office chair that comes in at $299 for the headrest version and $269 for the non-headrest version. You can also get a $20 coupon on their website, which brings the price down even further, and I'll have a link to that down in the description. Now, over the past year, I've kind of been on a quest to find the best budget office chair in the $300 price range, and honestly, most options you'll find are pretty weak. There are really only a handful of options that I can consistently recommend. So when Ergosift reached out about the M2, I was curious to see how it would actually compare to other options in this price range. And after testing it for the past week, I can say that this chair has really surprised me, especially when it comes to the seat comfort. In this video, I'll be giving you my full review of the Ergosift M2. We'll go over everything I liked about the chair, as well as the things that I didn't like, to help you decide if this chair is going to be the right fit for you. Now, I just want to mention that this video is sponsored by Ergosift, but all opinions that you're going to hear are completely my own. They didn't tell me what to say, and I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on this chair, the good and the bad. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into the review, starting with the design. The Ergosift 2 has a versatile design with neutral colors and a sleek minimal aesthetic. It uses a mesh backrest paired with a foam padded seat, which is a pretty common design trend in budget office chairs. The upholstered seat and headrest add a nice bit of contrast against the mesh back, giving the chair a more refined, visually appealing look in my opinion. It has a nice professional look that would fit in pretty much any environment, whether it's a home office, corporate setting, or even a gaming setup. Overall, I'd say the design is clean and professional. It's nothing too flashy, but it does look good in my opinion. So now let's talk about the actual comfort of the chair, starting with the seat, which is the best feature of the chair and one of my favorite seats I've ever tested on a budget chair. Honestly, this is one of the most comfortable seat pads I've used on a chair under $300. The seat has a thicker, medium firm pad with really good give to it, but it's still firm enough to feel supportive. You kind of sink into it a bit, but I've never had any issues with bottoming out even after long sessions. To be honest, I was really surprised by it. You just get the perfect amount of cushion and sink while still being firm enough to be supportive. I've been able to comfortably sit in this chair for 8 hours a day with no issues at all. The seat is pretty spacious and it's padded all the way around with no hard frame edges, so it's good for cross-legged sitting if you're someone who likes to do that. You also get a seat pan depth adjustment with a good range of motion, which is great for accommodating people of different heights and leg lengths. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that since you sink into the seat a little bit, there might be a little bit of heat buildup. So that's definitely something to consider if you tend to run hot when you sit. But aside from that, overall, this is one of the most comfortable seats I've ever used on a budget office chair, and is definitely a standout feature of the chair in my opinion. When it comes to the backrest, it uses a mesh material that has good elasticity, but can feel pretty firm. The mesh quality itself is okay, but it's not amazing. It can feel a little bit scratchy against your skin, which is pretty common for mesh chairs at this price point. That said, the breathability is good, so it's an option if you're someone who tends to run hot. As for the shape of the backrest, it has a good natural curve that matches the shape of your spine. In my opinion, it feels pretty comfortable and supportive. You also get a height adjustable lumbar support. That said, the adjustment can be a little clunky. I find that it tends to catch on either side when I'm moving it up and down, which feels a little bit cheap. Overall, it's fine though. The pad is pretty firm, but it doesn't feel too pokey. It's also fairly pronounced, so if you're someone who likes aggressive lumbar support, then it might be a good fit for you. Since this is a mesh backrest, I can kind of feel the frame on the sides a bit when I'm stretching and moving around a lot, but it's not really uncomfortable during normal use. Overall, I'd say the backrest is pretty comfortable and provides decent support. It's nothing that will wow you, but overall it's pretty good. When it comes to the recline, the M2 uses a synchro tilt mechanism that has a smooth recline action. It's a nice deep recline with 4 different locking positions and goes up to a 124-degree recline angle, which is good for lounging and taking breaks. Now, one of my favorite features of this chair is the tilt tension adjustment. It uses a crank mechanism similar to what you would find on a Haworth chair. In my opinion, this is a huge upgrade over most chairs in this price range that will have a knob located under the seat. The crank is easy to access while sitting in the chair and feels very responsive. It only takes a few turns to feel a significant difference in the tilt tension. You also have a forward seat tilt feature, which helps avoid slouching and reduces strain on your lumbar, neck, and shoulders. This feature is particularly good for upright tasking in my opinion. And this is a feature that you typically only find on higher end office chairs, so it's really nice to see it on a $300 chair. Overall, I'd say the recline mechanism is excellent for a chair in this price point. And when it comes to the armrests, they're pretty good overall. They're 40 adjustable with height, width, depth, and pivot adjustments, and the range of motion on each of these adjustments is pretty good. I also really like that the minimum height of the arms is low enough so that I can push the chair underneath my desk to save space. Also, the adjustments have good resistance to them, so you don't really need to worry about bumping them out of position by accident. Now, when it comes to the arm pads themselves, they aren't the best, but they're not bad. They're just a little stiff in my opinion. Now, they have a little bit of give to them, but not much. I would definitely prefer it if they were a bit softer for when you really need to dig your elbows into them. That said, the arms themselves are pretty sturdy with very little wobble or play. You can easily push off of them to shift positions or to get up out of the chair with no issues. So overall, the armrests are pretty good for a budget chair. The M2 has an optional headrest add-on, and it's a decent headrest for a budget chair, but it's definitely not perfect. The headrest is 3D adjustable with height and pivot adjustments. It uses a ratcheting system with 11 different positions. The ratcheting mechanism makes it kind of annoying to make micro adjustments in my opinion. The problem is that you can only move it upward in small increments, and when you want to lower it, you have to push it all the way up to the top so that it resets before it drops down again. This is kind of annoying for a headrest because you're often going to need to make micro adjustments while you're reclining or shifting positions around in the chair. That said, the range of motion on the height adjustment is really good, so it's definitely suitable for taller people. The headrest uses a foam pad that feels a bit firm. I definitely wish the pad was a bit softer, but it's not bad. Since it's padded all the way around, you don't need to worry about coming into contact with a plastic frame as you shift around. I'd also say that this headrest is pretty decent in multiple positions, whether you like it up against the back of your head or in the curve of your neck. It also holds its position pretty well, and I didn't run into many issues with accidentally bumping it out of place. So overall, it's a pretty decent headrest for a budget chair. It's not the best that I've seen, but it definitely gets the job done. So now let's talk about the materials and build quality. Overall, the build quality is pretty decent for a $300 chair. Now, it's not the best that I've seen at this price point, but it's solid overall. The chair uses an aluminum base, but it is a 6-piece base that you'll need to screw together during assembly. The backrest uses a fabric-like mesh material that has decent elasticity, though it can feel firm. It's pretty comfortable in my opinion, but it's not the best quality fabric and can feel a little bit scratchy. But when it comes to the seat, the M2 has a thicker seat pad that feels very comfortable and good quality. I didn't have any issues with it bottoming out, even after long 8+ hour sessions. The M2 is also BIFMA certified and has a 250-pound weight capacity. Now, there will be a little bit of play in some areas like the seat pan and the headrest, but it's very minor and doesn't really affect the comfort of the chair. So overall, the materials and build quality are pretty solid for a sub $300 chair, and I do expect it to last. So now let's talk about value. The Ergosift M2 comes in at $299 for the headrest version, or $269 without the headrest, and you can also get a $20 coupon on their site, which brings the price down even more. In my opinion, I think this chair compares pretty favorably to many chairs in this $300 price range. Personally, I think the seat comfort alone makes this chair worth considering. Again, it's one of the most comfortable seats I've tested at this price point. The chair also comes with a 3-year warranty and a 30-day return period, which is really good for a sub $300 chair. Many chairs under $300 will only give you a 1-year warranty, so the extra coverage is a nice bonus. So overall, I think the M2 is a really good value for the money. It's definitely one of the most comfortable chairs I've tested in this price range and has pretty good adjustment features. So if you're interested in checking out the Ergosift M2, I'll have a link to it down in the description. And if you have any questions about the M2 or want to know how it compares to other budget chairs, feel free to leave me a comment down below.